WVUA-FM, Tuscaloosa.
And you are listening to 90.7 The Capstone. This is the student section. My name is Brady Grogan. I'm joined here with my two co-hosts, Jaylon Brooks and Connor Rolls. How are you boys doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. How about y'all?
Doing pretty good.
So, as we all know, this Sunday, we got the big game. I know you guys are very excited.
Go Birds!
Go Birds!
So, what are your feelings going into this game? Are you guys nervous, excited?
So, for me, you could say I'm a little nervous, but I'm also pretty confident. I feel like so far this entire year we kept proving ourselves to these competition. People say we don't play any competition, but if you look at it, we've played 10 opponents with winning records. We've won 9 of those 10. So I think we've had a test. We haven't had a test like Patrick Mahomes, but I still think we put up 31 against the best defense in the NFL in the NFC Championship game. So I think we can hold our own on offense. Defense worries me a little bit, but I think Hassan Reddick going against Andrew Wiley, which I think I saw he allowed 9 sacks so far this season. He's definitely their weak link. So I think Hassan Reddick will be able to manhandle the right tackle. I think the D-line's going to get after Patrick Mahomes. And I think our defense will show up and show out.
I'm going to have to agree with that. I have nothing really to just add to that, I guess, for the most part. But I will say pretty much that I'm excited for our defense just because I know the Chiefs' O-line can't match the Eagles' pass rushing, or at least I think so personally. But also, I'm excited to see the Jason Kelce versus Chris Jones matchup. I really am.
I am too.
I think that's Jason Kelce's obviously on his last legs, I believe. I think whether the Eagles win or lose, I think this is going to be the last season you see Jason Kelce. And good run, and I think a way to go out. Just two future Hall of Famers going at into this Super Bowl, so that's pretty cool. It looks like Patrick Mahomes is also, from reports, is being pretty healthy. He's running around a little bit at practice and still able to carry the offense. I'm assuming he's not going to be 100% by the Super Bowl, but who knows? That could be the same case for Jalen Hurts because I know his shoulder was a little bit banged up, but he's looking a lot better.
I think Jalen Hurts is going to be okay. It's been, 5 weeks? 6 weeks?
About.
Even if Patrick Mahomes is hurt, he's still going to be okay. I mean, they beat the Bengals.
Oh, yeah. But the thing I'm worried about is the Bengals, they don't have the same pass rush as the Eagles. So you could make a case where Patrick Mahomes was able to, get the ball out quickly, but there's a difference between the Bengals pass rush and the Eagles, second in NFL history in sacks?
Well, it's second in NFL history, third in football history.
Yeah, so 70 sacks in a season is unheard of, really. And I think the Eagles' D-line is going to get after Patrick Mahomes. And if he's not fully healthy, then it might be a long day for him. But I think he'll be okay.
One thing I'm interested to see is because it's just we're all, we've all been waiting for this matchup and we're all super excited for it. But I know for me, this game really does come down, I think, just on which Jalen Hurts are we getting? Because are we getting a scrambling Hurts? Because Hurts is the wild card for this game. This is the only thing that probably I can't predict. I don't know which Jalen Hurts we're going to see. But I'll tell you what, I know he's going to be ready and he's going to be prepared. So I'm just excited for the game.
So actually, Brady, go ahead with your thoughts because I want to talk about all the 40-winers out there.
Oh, we got to talk about that. I've never seen so much salt spilled on a table. But
from 49ers fans?
From the 49ers players.
Oh, okay.
From kicker to head coach, in between. But, what do you think?
Well, I mean, to give them just a little bit, I feel like that has to be one of the most painful things ever as a player, just to lose because your quarterback got hurt.
But the thing with that is, I think as an athlete, if you lose in a painful way, you should just be okay, let me write it down. Let me think about the ways we could do better because they're acting like the O-line was just not there.
That's true for certain things, but this is a very different situation. I feel like where this
it is
team
a little different, but it's not.
This team was
crazy
obviously
different.
Incredibly talented in every position except quarterback when it came to that Eagles.
Apparently O-line as well because they couldn't block anybody to save their lives.
Well, hey, you don't want Joe tweeting at you, the left guard I'm trying to think of his name.
Joe Thomas?
Yeah, you don't want him tweeting at you like he did Michael Michael Parsons, do you?
No, yeah. But what's funny is Robbie Gould had if Eagles defense could be easily exposed, you're a kicker, dude. Sit on the sideline and do nothing.
Brandon Ayuk had some strong words.
Yeah, he said he'd bet all of his money on the Chiefs, which You just got blown out 31-7. Your defense couldn't stop anything.
And then like another thing is just like you have Christian McCaffrey just saying, "I hope both teams loses," and it's just like I get it as an athlete. You're always gonna say like we're the better team because that's just your competitive spirit. But the amount of like when the Eagles got Carson Wentz got knocked out of the playoffs, which actually on a dirty hit,
And Josh McCown had a torn hamstring.
like exactly that is something that I understand more than what the 49ers are complaining about.
What?
Because that was a career. Because that was a dirty hit, and Javion Clowney didn't even get penalized for that.
I think with the 49ers, it's been like a lot of build-up, though. Like these past like couple years, I think they've just kind of felt like limited by their quarterback position.
Yeah,
and not just – I think that like that tension had been growing for a long time. Of like I can imagine the players are getting kind of sick of like
And I get
going
that.
out there and their fourth-string quarterback is fumbling the ball from the snap.
Yeah, and I get that. I get the frustration, but just don't say like the defense wasn't good because that defense knocked out both your quarterbacks. So
yeah.
just like, if you take it on the chin, and then you'll get to the next step. I promise.
Before we go back to the Super Bowl, I do want to talk about what you were saying with the whole Carson Wentz and Josh McCown stuff. Because after we lost,
This was 2019, by the way.
yeah, there were Eagles fans complaining, "Oh man, what would happen if we had our players?" Which, for fans, it's cool to do that for maybe a week, 2 weeks, because after that we were like, okay, it's over. But none of the Eagles players were. Nope, Seahawks, I don't want you to win because of all this unfortunate situations. It's at some point just be adult. Stop being a little kid.
That's what I'm saying. That's honestly what I wanted to say, but I'm glad you said it. But that's how I'm feeling too. But that's just me being an Eagles fan. But all respect to the 49ers players and
Except Robbie Gould, Brandon Ayuk, and and Nick Bosa for his past comments. But
I go back to I think if they hadn't had so much struggle with the quarterback position, then
It'd be a closer
then
game.
I think then no, I'm saying like in like the past like ever since Jimmy G like got sent there. Like if they hadn't had so much trouble with the quarterback, I think this has just been growing for so long. I think it's just they're getting sick of it. Like these guys, like you want to play with a good quarterback.
What about CMC though? He just got there and he's already chirping.
Well, CMC's been playing with no one for the past.
yeah,
He's probably just.
CMC has actually had worse quarterbacks.
He's just happy to be there,
guys.
Jimmy Ward too is another player who also.
Oh, Jimmy Ward too. It's
like there's a lot of there's like I don't know. The only one who's actually taking this like respectfully.
kind of George Kittle.
And Fred Warner.
Oh, and Fred Warner.
Both of those.
Yeah.
Because they're not saying anything. Like, I know Fred Warner's wife had some stuff to say, but even after that rant she went on, we have not heard a single bad thing about Fred Warner.
Yeah.
About people Philly or anything.
So, to go back, let's make our predictions. Brady?
I've said it since preseason, said it since week 1, said it since, week 8, since the playoffs started. I'm going with the Chiefs. I'm sticking with the Chiefs. Mahomes is still the best quarterback in the league. He just won the MVP. He's honestly been disrespected, I think, the entire playoffs.
Oh, he's been disrespected.
I think he has been disrespected.
He's been disrespected.
He is an all-time great quarterback, and we're coming into the playoffs acting like Joe Burrow and Josh Allen were better than him.
We'll get to the real disrespect.
No, I'm just like he's proven himself. It's like if you want to say Jalen Hurts is being disrespected, Mahomes has proven himself in the playoffs before.
Jalen Hurts hasn't? He hasn't proven himself?
In the playoffs?
No, I'm saying in general, he hasn't proven himself.
In the playoffs, no.
Apparently, Chris
in the
Sims.
Playoffs, he hasn't.
Chris Sims is.
Chris Sims, he doesn't even rank him as a top quarterback, top 32 quarterback.
Chris Sims.
Okay,
is
well,
wrong,
I'm not saying he's not top 32. I'm saying he hasn't proven himself in the playoffs.
You know the thing about the Chris Sims thing is he's just wrong and caught in like a situation, and now he's just getting, and now he doesn't want to look like.
Did he actually say he's not top 32?
And then
so at the beginning of the year, he had a QB ranking, and Jalen Hurts was nowhere to be found. It was 40 quarterbacks. He was nowhere to be found.
That was before the season, but even like when
that's bad.
But even when he went down in the season, he was like Gardner Minshew can lead this team easily.
Yeah.
And then you saw what happened.
Oh, and then after the Giants-Eagles playoff game,
and he
said I would rather Daniel Jones than Jalen Hurts.
I'm not saying I would rather have Jalen Hurts over Daniel Jones. If that makes you feel better.
I think he's just playing into that because he knows he's. I would hope so because
I would hope so because I know George Niang. I don't know if y'all saw his tweet, but he came out and tweeted, how can someone like this who threw more career interceptions and touchdowns be talking? So, Philly sports are locked in.
It's a fair say. I just think
they are. All Philly sports are in unison.
Mahomes has just been under the radar. I just think he's been under the radar. The Bengals players were talking the big talk going into that game. He won the game, and even when they won the game and all those Bengals players had talked so much, he still didn't say anything, which I think just proves to me that he's locked in on the Super Bowl. He is locked in on this Super Bowl, and he knows what his goal is, and he's not getting caught up with the small things. And I just think he leads this Chiefs team to a win.
So the thing for me is, I'm actually going to kind of agree with you here. I know as much as it pains for me to say this. I'm picking the Eagles to win.
Okay.
But I'm still saying, like, as much as it saddens me to say, I think Patrick Mahomes is due for another one, but I'm still going to pick the Eagles. I mean,
I'm alone right now, man.
I know. I mean, dude, it's like it's hard for me to root against the greats, and I think Patrick Mahomes is that great of a player. And as much as I love Jalen Hurts, how is he not winning Offensive Player of the Year or like any of those awards last night? I don't know.
His injury, I feel like, screwed him up with
if he doesn't get hurt,
he only missed 2 games though for Offensive Player of the Year. I understand MVP.
I do agree. Justin Jefferson should have won over
for MVP. Missing those games, I think, really hurt.
It did hurt him.
So, like, I don't think he was
I'm not
the
too
MVP.
upset about that.
And then I think,
and that final game hurt him too.
Like I said earlier this season, I didn't think Jalen Hurts could win the MVP because this is just his first year being on the scene. So I'm not too surprised.
And just like this is just me. I just feel like the Offensive Player of the Year should go to like a non-quarterback.
Yeah,
I mean, just to kind of like give them some love.
Because MVP is all just a quarterback.
MVP is the quarterback. Like it's the one the quarterbacks win. So giving the Offensive Player of the Year to a wide receiver, running back, or someone else, I think is just. Give them the respect.
Mm-hmm.
They deserve it.
Yeah,
all right. So for my reasoning, I'm gonna, because I've been hearing a lot of talk. So I think the Chiefs. I think this is gonna be a great game, regardless. You know, the Kelsey Bowl, Andy Reid. You know, coming back or playing Philly again.
Nick Sirianni going back to Chiefs.
Yeah, but people keep bringing up Marquez Valdez-Scantling as a wide receiver 1 caliber player because he torched Eli Apple. Are we really looking at Eli Apple? It's Eli Apple. Don't look at Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Don't look at Kadarius Toney. Don't look at Juju Smith-Schuster because they were all outcasted from their former teams because they weren't good enough for the position they needed to play. I feel like the only real weapon they have is Isaiah Pacheco, Travis Kelce, and maybe Jerick McKinnon in the passing game. Other than that, it's like all the work that gets done is because Patrick Mahomes can throw them the ball.
I'm going to make a hot take here.
I mean, but that's all you kind of need sometimes.
I think I'm going to make a hot take here.
Yeah, I think
Kadarius Toney is going to be huge in the Super Bowl.
I think he will too. I think he'll be underrated,
I think he's going to open a lot of eyes to the Super Bowl.
You can't look at our secondary and our players and be like, oh yeah, Marcus Valdez-Scantling's going to have a big game.
Oh yeah, it's like I wouldn't bet on any of these guys having a great game.
Besides
but
Travis.
I bet one of them puts up 80 yards. Like because they have like those receivers. I said this earlier. Like they have receivers that you can kind of just like plug in to have a good game here and there because they're all kind of at a similar caliber. So they're all like one of them's are going to get hard matchups and some of them's going to get easier matchups, but they're all at the same level. So that means that they'll be able to use the better matchups.
I kind of see this Super Bowl matchup as kind of similar versus the Eagles when they went up against the Patriots.
The first time or the second time?
The second time.
Okay.
The one when we got that ring.
But the one when we were like alive and watched it.
Yeah, but
technically I was alive for that first one.
Yeah, I was too. But I was gonna say like the Patriots, I think they were the more talented team. That's why the Eagles were the underdogs. But the Eagles had the better depth. And that's how I feel.
The Patriots had Tom Brady. I think that's what it was.
I think that
it was Tom Brady versus Nick Foles, and everyone was like, Tom Brady does not lose to Nick Foles.
It was Tom Brady and Rob and like the vets of Edelman. It's like all that. That's why I say more talent. Because like when you look at our side, we had like what was it like? I
think we had a lot more talented team than the Patriots, but they had bigger names.
I mean, but I don't. I mean, that's why I say the depth point, because I think we had a lot of depth. Like with Jay was a huge trade. Like LeGarrette Blount was huge for us that game. But those aren't those aren't like the typical talented names that you hear. But that's what goes to my depth point.
I guess. I mean, more like that. I feel like we had a better O-line, we had a better D-line, we had better safeties, we had better running backs, we had better wide receivers. The only thing they had better was corners, I think, because it was Stephon Gilmore, quarterback, and tight end.
And then I also think they had a better running game because White wasn't that bad.
We had the best running game in the league. LeGarrette Blount.
I know. But I said I'm also just saying the way that they used that. Sure.
I guess.
But
to go on about this is my last take until I give my my prediction. But
let's hear it.
Let me read this out for you. The Chiefs run press coverage at the highest rate in the NFL, right? Mm-hmm. A.J. Brown had the highest yards per route run against press coverage in NFL history this season. That's according to Brendan Deeg or whatever. So I think our offense we can do whatever. We can run the ball. We have the best running game in the NFL. We can clearly pass the ball. I'm saying it's going to be a close game. Eagles win. And I'm confident.
You're confident.
Knock on wood. I'm confident. I'm not saying we're going to win. I just have a feeling that we are. Knock on wood.
I said Chiefs win by at least 7.
I say Eagles win by at least 3.
I would go.
You want me to give you all a score? I'll give you 32-28.
30-28?
I think it's going to be around that number. Like
Yeah.
one team in the 30s, one team in the 20s.
Actually, I think both teams might be in the 30s.
It's gonna. I feel like because like I'm saying, I'm thinking this is gonna be like the Patriots Eagles. Like I think it's gonna be high scoring. I think it's gonna be. Hard
I don't think the Eagles are going to let this game get that far out of hand. Because really, the Chiefs they only stand a chance really with like if it's kind of a shootout. Like if they're shooting. So I think the Eagles most likely are going to try to slow the game down.
Yeah.
More than people expect. Like people are talking about like AJ Brown, like you're talking about AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, all like Jalen Hurts. But I think it's the run game that's going to win this game, keeping Patrick Mahomes on the sideline.
The run game's definitely going to win the game. But I'm saying if we're looking for a big player, like a nice little slant that's going to get some yards, I think that.
No, I'm just saying in general. I feel like a lot of people have been talking about like the difference in receivers and stuff. But like the Eagles are just like they run the ball.
They run the ball.
They run the ball and they run the ball well.
Actually, the best.
Yeah, that's
So we
Come
got
on, Miles Sanders, make your last game count.
we got Brady with the Chiefs. And me and Jaylon with the Eagles.
Yeah.
Go Birds.
All right, we got quite a game. Up next, we will be talking about the NBA trade deadline, all the trades that went down in the past yesterday. And so we'll go over all the trades after this quick break.
WVUA-FM, Tuscaloosa.
And we are back. This is 9.7, the student section. I'm Brady. I'm here with Connor and Jaylon, and it's time to talk about the NBA trade deadline that went down yesterday.
We thought last week was crazy. Oh
I know.
My God.
It all just happened at once, it felt like.
Really, for real, honestly. But I'll tell you what, this is NBA history. I think it's one of the craziest NBA trade deadlines we've ever seen, and I think this has got. It has to be a record-setting of number of second-round picks that were traded.
Oh, I feel like everyone was just throwing
I felt like Oprah. You get a second-round pick. You get a second-round pick.
I think it's like $1 bills at a club, but it's like everyone just like throwing it around. It's like, hey, you can have it.
I don't understand where
Everybody
this
gets to have
demand
a good
came
time.
from either, though, because it felt like second-round picks like weren't being traded, and then all of a sudden they were.
It's hey, you get 5.
You know what it felt
get
like to
4.
What are you gonna do with 5 second-round picks?
You know what it felt like to me? This is literally what I do when I play 2K and I'm building on my team, and I'm just like, I want this player. Just give them all the second-round picks I have. And I guess
give them
that's what happened.
The next 10 years of second-round picks for Kevin Durant.
Yes.
In 2K.
Deal.
And then
Speaking of the biggest trade news, like you just said, Kevin Durant to the Suns. I just kind of want to react to that. And what is your guys' opinion on that?
So I think we all have mixed opinions here, but I think the ceiling is extremely high for this team, and the floor is extremely low. But I think them winning the championship is more likely than them crashing and burning, in my opinion.
Ready?
I don't think they crash and burn. I think they gambled a lot.
They did gamble a lot.
They gambled a lot. Chris Paul has not been great, and I wouldn't expect him to all of a sudden flip a switch and be great come playoff
But that's why you
time.
bring in Kevin Durant.
And that's why you bring Kevin Durant, but I'm saying like the guards in their backcourt, it's
not great.
It's Chris Paul, Campaign,
That's pretty much it. Like
Landry Shamet,
Ron Carter
come
probably.
in.
Don't disrespect Landry Shamet.
Landry
like
Shamet.
That. Sixers legend for half a season.
I will disrespect him a little bit. If I was trying to make a run to the NBA Finals, I would not want him playing rotational minutes.
Why not? He's
okay for like
he can shoot.
He can't play defense. He can't really handle the ball too well.
He's just
and he can shoot all right.
He's like your Marco Bellinelli. Like you're like
Marco Bellinelli was tough.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But like you didn't run so much stuff from him. You were just mostly just run catch.
I do see that.
But
I just think I don't trust the guards, and I feel like teams you need to have reliable guards.
And like we talked about this a little bit before the show, but I know everyone thinks that the Suns are like the favorites, but I don't see it. I really don't. I'm going to be completely honest here.
I think you're crazy because you don't see it.
But that's
you don't
the
have
thing.
the vision.
Let me tell you why I'm not seeing it. Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, 2 great names, 2 great superstars. Yes, they can score the ball at will whenever. I'm not arguing that, and I think
Sounds like you are arguing that.
When come playoff time, they're gonna get their buckets, and I don't think anyone can guard them. But you're telling me about the other pieces? You mean 37-year-old Chris Paul, who hasn't stayed healthy for the last 4 playoffs?
You know what his nickname is? Point God.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
it
not
doesn't
worried.
matter if you're 37 years
You
old.
only got that nickname 15 years ago.
Exactly. He's about done. 37 years old. He's about done, and then you got. They also received T.J. Warren in that trade, but T.J. Warren's still coming back from an injury. He probably
hasn't stayed healthy in 3 years.
Exactly.
He's still been a bucket.
There's a reason he's on like a minimum size deal because people don't know if he can stay healthy.
That's the answer.
You have Torrey Craig starting at power forward. I doubt that's going to be good for you in starting the playoffs. I don't believe that, especially when you face some of these tougher teams like a Memphis Grizzlies.
Don't consider Memphis Grizzlies tough.
No, if Jaren Jackson's going to be, I like the Jaren Jackson Memphis matchup over Torrey Craig. I know that's bold to say, but
wouldn't you think Jaren Jackson would be on Kevin Durant?
I don't know. It depends because they have. I think there's a lot of versatility on Memphis Grizzlies, so I don't really know what their plan is.
But you see what we're talking about. Pick your poison.
Wait.
4 of the 5 can get their own bucket with ease.
Who you talk? 4 of the 5, like who?
4 or 5. 2 of the 5.
Devin Booker,
Chris Paul,
Kevin Durant, DeAndre Ayton.
Ayton ain't getting his own buckets.
No, that's where we're confused.
Get him in the post.
Hang on, let me finish.
He's not. He's like they're not going to run their offense.
They're not going to run his offense, but it's play whoever offense basically.
All right, let me finish making the point. My mother last point was just saying you have the last spot. You have DeAndre Ayton, who's been known. They've been having a lot of issues with the coaching staff. I don't trust that going into the playoffs. You have no bench. You gave up They had one of the best depth. That's the things about the Phoenix Suns. Not only were they talented, but they had the best depth over the last couple of years in the NBA. But you give up Mikal Bridges, which is a huge loss. Cameron Johnson's also a huge loss. Jay Crowder, we all know about that Jay Crowder situation. That's a huge pickup for the Bucks. That's like when P.J. Tucker came over. That's like
it is a similar move.
It's a small move with a veteran presence and someone who has a little bit of playoff experience. And then you trade four first-round picks, which is not that big of a deal because you're competing now, but it's going to be hard for you to pivot, I think, when it comes to this offseason. And especially, I think they're going to have to move DeAndre Ayton. I think the only thing that keeps DeAndre Ayton is Kevin Durant can convince them, and unless they can contend now. But I don't like this team. I don't think they're getting out of the Western Conference Finals. I don't even think they're going to go to the Western Conference Finals. So we'll see.
So to be complete, go ahead.
I was just going to say this trade definitely puts a lot more pressure on their timeline because the window was already semi-closing because of Chris Paul's health.
Yeah.
And then to bring Kevin Durant, I think it's gambling a lot.
Your 2 best players are 34 and then 37, and then you have your young buck who's 26?
Well, I mean, Booker's the second best player.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying. But I'm saying 2 out of 3 stars.
Don't say maybe like that. Devin Booker is the second best player. I mean, the second best player.
Yeah, he's definitely the second best player.
He is the second best player, and that is a definitive fact.
Okay.
There's no debating that Chris Paul is better.
I still think this is Devin Booker's team too, but that's a whole other discussion we can have. But I know.
So for me, what you were saying with DeAndre Ayton, and he's had a tough time. I think Jay Crowder has probably been one of the biggest reasons why that team has not had great success is because of that locker room presence.
But this goes back
to last year. He hasn't been in the locker room.
But that's what I'm saying. This goes back to last year.
It's cancerous locker room because of Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder doesn't want to be there, so he's just hey, whatever. It's like the Ben Simmons situation. How he doesn't want to be a part of the team.
It's different though because Jay Crowder's not a starter.
And then Ben Simmons was kind of forced to show up, and then that was kind of a weird situation all along.
Because Simmons showed to training camp.
They're telling Jay Crowder to stay home, while they figure something out. And I don't think that's a single
I just think that whole thing looming over the franchise is not good for anybody, really. I think it's...
I just don't really see
I think the DeAndre Ayton thing, honestly, is more toxic than the Jay Crowder thing. I don't think anyone cares about that.
Because there's something deeper than just the Jay Crowder between Monty Williams, the head coach of the Phoenix Suns, and their number 1 pick, DeAndre Ayton, their former number 1 pick. I think at some point they're going to have to make a trade and move on from DeAndre Ayton. I don't think you can recover from that.
I think some point, yeah, but
they don't. I'm sorry.
Oh no, you're good. I was saying this year, I think he'll be good enough for this year. I'm sorry, but I see it working.
The thing is, winning does kind of cure everything.
Yeah,
to a degree. I feel like a lot of the problems
to a degree though.
They're the ninth seed right now.
Not really. It feels like
Kyrie Irving, they won.
But Kyrie's been.
That was a contract. That was a contract dispute, though. That wasn't like a coach-player
Isn't
thing.
that kind of what they went? That's what what happened with DeAndre Ayton.
But Ayton got his contract.
But now
That's okay, it's over.
Ayton has his money.
But now they were losing. They were the 9th seed before they made the trade. But what we were saying is, who do you think is going to stop them? The only team that I can see put them a fight is the Nuggets. Grizzlies for sure aren't doing anything.
Mavericks can give them money.
Mavericks maybe. I need to see what Kyrie looks like with Luka.
Pelicans full strength. I know they've been maybe bad
Pelicans,
this last month.
That's my big team.
If they can get everyone healthy, which is a big if.
That's the same thing you get with the Suns. No, you can't get them healthy, but Zion can't stay on the court. Or Brandon Ingram.
I mean, I don't...
So I'm saying you can't pick and choose between the Suns and the Pelicans.
I don't the thing. There's a difference history between Chris Paul's injury history and like Brandon Ingram's history.
What?
Like
when we're talking about health for the Suns, I am strictly talking about Chris Paul.
Okay, so you're just talking about. I think that's another big thing you got to talk about. Kevin Durant is also injury prone. Like now, he's 34. He's been out for like a month and a half now. If he goes down, Kevin Durant goes down, that team's done. We all agree with that, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like you're literally just hoping Kevin Durant can win you the chip. That's literally what's going on here.
But the thing
You're
I'm
hoping
saying,
he's the factor.
Thing I'm saying is you can't look at the Suns and be like, oh man, they have an injury history, so I think the Pelicans fully healthy can beat them. The Pelicans have a more injured roster than the Suns.
I believe in the Pelicans' depth more than I believe in the Suns' depth, whether it's healthy or not. Like that Pelicans team has a lot of underrated players from like Jose Alvarado, from Herb Jones to Trey Murphy.
Yes, they're underrated, but I just don't see them making a huge difference.
I think they're better role players than what the Suns have.
I think they're better role players, but I think the Suns have better stars, which can even it out.
I think for the playoffs, it's not for the playoffs. You need stars to win.
Of course,
but it's not just stars. Like stars don't win you at all. It's role players.
But I agree with that. But when we look at stars, you think of 1 or 2 stars. They have 4 players that you can stagger minutes.
Not stars. Not 4 stars.
4 great players. They can stagger minutes.
Who? I wouldn't even say 4 great players.
Ayton.
I would not put Ayton in the great tier.
I love Ayton as a center.
I wouldn't put Chris Paul in the great tier.
Ayton is a top 5 center in the league.
No.
Yes, he is. Ayton is a top 5 center in the league.
Well, let's name your other centers first.
So I got, of
course,
is
a great discussion.
Joel Embiid, number 1.
Okay, obviously.
Nikola Jokic, number 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You could argue, I would say, probably Cat, number 3.
Yeah. Okay. Are we counting AD as a center?
Because
that's probably 4.
I don't really think so. I don't think it's a center. I think he's more of a power forward.
I think he's playing. He listed as center right now, but if you want to count him as power forward, that's understandable. But I personally am counting him as a center.
I think Ayton is up there.
I'm taking Bam over him.
Are you taking? What about
Bam is soft.
What about Rudy Gobert? Are you taking Rudy Gobert over?
No, I'm not taking Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert is.
I think he
despises his game.
I think you have to. I've kind of realized I have a new respect for Rudy Gobert because you have to use him a certain way.
I think
it's.
But at that point,
I'm trying to think. What does? If I was the Suns, I would rather have Rudy Gobert than Ayton because what does Ayton do better than Gobert?
Offensively, he's
scoring
10 times better.
It's just scoring.
But you don't need scores.
It's just scoring.
Your point, though.
He's a great rebounder as well. Don't get it.
Rudy Gobert's a better rebounder.
And he led the league in rebounding
Rudy's a better rebounder.
Yeah, that's true.
He's averaging 11.5 boards this season.
Ayton's
at 10. Rudy's a better rebounder.
Ayton has to show me more. For number 1 pick, he's been disappointing. I think we can all agree on that.
He has been a little disappointing, but you can't say he's not a top 5 center.
What about
you can? We just named.
You just wanted to put Vucevic in the All-Star game. Vucevic in the All-Star game.
So we just named Embiid, Jokic.
I'm personally putting Anthony Davis on that.
Anthony Davis, Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert. So that's 5.
You can put Bam.
I'm not 5. I'm putting Bam above him. I am putting Bam above him with not even a second thought.
Bam for
not even I'm not even thinking twice. I'm putting Bam in, above him. There's no world where there is no world where the Suns call the Heat and say we'll give you Ayton for Bam, and the Heat don't immediately hang up the phone. There's no world where the Heat even talks to them for more than a second.
There is definitely
no.
Yes,
that's not even a conversation.
I would negotiate that deal.
There's you don't even talk to them about it. You laugh at them.
When Victor Wembanyama comes into the league.
Who? I'm sorry. Say that again. Who?
Victor, I said it real fast, hoping y'all didn't notice.
Wembanyama?
Victor Wembanyama.
Just say Wemby.
So, but when Victor W comes in the league,
Victor Wembanyama?
I'm gonna move Ayton down to 7th.
You can't say that though.
I'm literally just I'm trolling right.
Okay.
I'm
was
just saying
be pressed.
that's how I view DeAndre Ayton though.
All right, so let's move on to the next trade. So I feel like we're spending way too much time on this. How do you think the Lakers did this deadline? Because I think they had a great deadline.
I always say this. I always say, Rob Pelinka, you are an interesting human being. I'll just start with that.
I'm not going to give credit to Rob.
No, well, here's the thing.
This is the GM.
No, this is the thing. Rob,
the GM negotiated.
We've seen this multiple times again that Rob Pelinka is just doing a terrible job. But then somehow, whether it be like late in the season, it always seems like he's making a couple moves that just try to clean up this team. And like usually in the past, it hasn't been the best. We saw with the Westbrook thing, that hasn't been the best. But he really cleaned up this deadline. This is the best job I think he's done. I think I don't count the Anthony Davis because that's pretty much a given. I just think LeBron did that. Clutch did that. But this is the best job I think he's ever done for the Lakers organization. The Lakers got excuse me for the names.
Rui Hachimura.
And got 3 seconds for
Kendrick Nunn.
Yeah, for Kendrick Nunn, 3 second-round picks.
And Kendrick Nunn was awful for them.
Yeah, and that was basically nothing. The Lakers got Mo Bamba
for Patrick Beverly.
Got rid of Patrick Beverly.
But Pat Bev's going to be a free agent.
Yeah, he's probably going to go back to Minnesota.
Think?
I think so. He really loves Minnesota.
Can he do that?
Yeah, I mean, he's a buyout.
Because didn't he get traded? Oh wait,
no,
he got bought out by.
He can sign anywhere.
Yeah, I thought he couldn't sign with the team that traded him the year before, but I think he got bought out.
Yeah, I think, and plus, I don't know if you noticed, when D'Angelo Russell, the next trade for the Lakers, got traded to the Lakers.
Oh, yeah.
He traded a picture with D'Angelo Russell. He was like, my boy's back. And then, unfortunately, he got
I'm so happy that D'Angelo Russell got out of Minnesota.
Oh, yeah, apparently he really hates Rudy Gobert.
I am so happy D'Angelo Russell got out. I think
likes him, apparently now.
I think that spot was super toxic for him. I thought the last month and a half, 2 months, he's been playing really, really good basketball.
This is his most efficient year, if I'm not mistaken.
He's shooting the ball super well. I think he's a great playmaker. He plays with a slower pace, but the way he plays makes me feel comfortable with him in the ball.
It's like herky jerky,
It's a little bit. It's a little bit like Shea, where they kind of go up and down.
Slow.
He's one of my favorite players to watch. His bag is really deep.
He's got a deep bag.
Also, the celebrations, the Ice in My Veins, is still one of my all-time favorite celebrations. I don't care what anyone says.
Oh, for sure. I love his celebration.
And then I bring in Malik Beasley. I think Malik Beasley is a great player to put next to LeBron.
They're going to have to do something about Scottie Pippen Jr., though, on that team. It's a rookie.
It's such a tough situation.
Yeah, but we don't have to get into it. Let's not get
I feel like they weren't just like, hey, let's just put these names together.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't really think about that.
So honestly, if you're thinking about
G League players' feelings,
it's like
you can't even think about the G League.
That's your problem.
But
this is the rookie though, so I think he's a project. He's a project, but
it's gotta be just a little awkward.
But I mean, I'm sure they'll figure something out as they do.
All right, we will take a quick break and we'll go back to talk about the rest of the trades that went down yesterday. This is 90.7 The Capstone, the student section.
WVUA-FM, Tuscaloosa.
This is 90.7 The Capstone, the student section. My name is Brady. I'm here with Connor and Jaylon, and we're here to talk about more of the NBA trade deadline. So, did you guys have any moves specifically that you guys were keyed in on from these last couple of days?
There are a couple. I think some of my favorite, call me crazy, but Mason Plumlee going to the Clippers.
I will call you crazy.
I think Mason Plumlee is a really good, skilled big man with, I don't think shooting, of course not shooting, because we don't know if he's right-handed or left-handed. But
he doesn't know either.
Being able to create team shots, I think, because we saw with the Hornets, he was able to get people open. He was able to do a bunch of stuff that was really a lot of other big men don't really do. But I like that a lot. But I think the trade that I love the most, call me biased or whatever, I love Matisse Thybulle, but his offense was nowhere to be found really. I know I said I remember at the beginning of the year, I said defensive player of the year and most improved.
Yeah.
I was wrong. He can't get his offense down.
He's 27 now, right?
I think he's
that old.
Yeah, he's about that.
I think Jaylon McDaniels is a lot better offensively. I think his defense is it's definitely not as good as Matisse Thybulle, but it's definitely up there.
It's not all NBA worth, but it's close.
Yeah, it's very close. So I think that's a very good, very underrated move for the Sixers. I love that move.
I didn't understand why the Blazers basically wanted to trade Josh Hart for Matisse Thybulle, in their rotation. Switch those two.
I think I know that. See, Portland's scheme is all about defense. If you look at all their players, it's mostly catered towards defensive players. That's why they
I love how their whole scheme's catered toward defensive players, but they don't have a single defensive player besides Jeremy Grant.
That's pretty much what they're trying to work on. Because that's if you listen to Coach Billups in the offseason, he said one of the things that he's going to really try to improve in this group is their defense. Mm-hmm. And that's why they try to sign Gary Payton, names like that as well. And they try to keep working on Nasir Little.
Nasir Little.
Yeah. So it's players like those, but that's why Cam Reddish, to your point, is huge. I think that's going to be huge.
I think Cam Reddish is a really good
That's
pickup.
a nothing trade.
But I think
it's a nothing trade.
That's honestly blasphemous that you think it's nothing, but
they just
it's
need
not.
more.
It's not blasphemous.
They need more 3-and-D wings, and that's what they're hoping. I don't know if they can.
Reddish is not a 3-and-D.
I know,
wing.
but they're hoping.
I don't know.
They're hoping that
finish and then me and Brady.
That's what they're hoping to get out of him. Same with Matisse Thybulle. They're still hoping that because they love their defense, obviously, but they're hoping they can get a little bit of offensive things out of them. But going back to your Clippers point, just real quick, I just want to say. I think they were huge with getting Mason Plumlee. Hornets, I have no idea what that franchise is doing. By that, I'm assuming Mason Plumlee was the best thing going for their season, which is kind of funny to say. So I think they're just literally tanking for Vic W. Clippers getting Bones Highland, I think that was also a really big trade. I think that really has more to do for the Nuggets, though, because there's been a lot of stories coming out of the Denver locker room that Bones Highland and Jamal Murray, ever since he's been coming back from his ACL injury, do not like each other, or at least his friend groups, at least their acquaintances. Because there's been a lot of back and forth on Twitter, just a lot of stuff causing, I think just making the locker room all weird. And that's why I think the very next day after all that stuff happened, you saw Jamal Murray drop almost 50. So I think that's important to kind of take a notice of. So I think that's why they did that trade. And, they get 2 second-round picks out of it. But like I said, I think those are the two ones I'm surprised of. But just going back to the Portland thing, I think they'll make those trades work. Yeah. I think last thing, Brady. You don't like the
Cam Reddish?
You don't like Cam Reddish?
Oh, I don't like. He's fallen out of the rotation on 2 teams now.
It's not his fault. It's not his fault. It's not his fault.
Thibodeau, I don't blame Thibodeau. That's just how
Thibodeau
is. It's so hard to crack minutes on Thibodeau's team.
You got to be a hustle player. You got to go out there, work hard, play hard defense. And Reddish was not that, and he was a ball stopper on offense.
I think that's why though. I feel like he wasn't bought into that system.
He didn't buy in.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, you can't blame Tibbs for him not buying in. That's on him.
Thibodeau is such a weird coach where you can't get mad at someone for not fitting his thing if he requires people who, I feel like half the league who are all-stars would not fit in that rotation.
That's just.
That rotation is hard.
I think you're just kind of over.
And plus, his rotation
exaggerating a little bit to how intense he is.
A lot of people. This is my opinion, and I know a lot of people don't agree with this, but I think Tom Thibodeau has ended some careers early because
he screwed up
a lot of people.
Derrick Rose's whole career.
No, I know he definitely
Luol Deng, Joakim Noah. You can just keep going on.
He pushes his guys too hard and he plays them too many minutes.
Jimmy Butler led the league in minutes for 3 years in a row under Thibodeau, or 2 years. I'll fact check that.
It's to the point where if you're not a young player, you're not going to see the floor.
And these young guys, they don't want to play.
Exactly.
And these young guys, they don't want to play defense, though.
You got to be already, established in this league for him to get minutes.
Dude, he's starting Quentin Grimes. Jericho Sims is playing a bunch of minutes. Emmanuel Quickly is coming off the bench. These are young guys, too.
Those are homegrown.
That's what I'm saying. Those are all defensive players, too. Quentin Grimes was known for playing defense.
Quentin Grimes is a 3-and-D player.
That's what I'm saying. The guy from West Virginia, McBride, right? Daniel?
Yeah.
He was a defensive player. Cam Reddish is not. Cam Reddish
not
is a
a great
scorer.
defender.
Cam Reddish is a scorer
he will
first.
score.
Cam
Cam
Reddish likes to have the ball in his hand, and he likes to go score.
And you can't do that in Tom Thibodeau's
teams don't,
system.
and like the Hawks didn't like it either.
Well, the
and
Hawks-
like Dame's not going to just give
Hawks have
Cam
too
Reddish
much depth.
Yeah, the Hawks have too much depth. They didn't know what was going on. Plus, Trae Young. There's a reason John Collins wants to be out of.
There's
Atlanta.
something wrong with that whole top.
John
of the
Collins
management.
doesn't want to get out of Atlanta. Atlanta wants John Collins out of
I think
Atlanta.
it's both.
I think if John Collins wanted out of Atlanta, he would have demanded a trade. The fact that he's been in rumors for like 3 years and he hasn't demanded one.
I think John Collins wants out, but he's not going to give up the money, so he's not going to like.
Well, he already signed the
wants out.
contract.
He already signed his
So
contract.
it doesn't matter. He can't give up the money.
Well, that's what I'm
He
saying.
just does, I don't think he wants out, but I think the team wants him gone.
The team wants him gone. I don't think
I think he wants.
he
out.
would have demanded because he's been in rumors so much that if he demanded a trade, I guarantee they could find one.
What, 5 or 4 years?
It's been
back
it's
to
been
back
his
to back
career.
to back.
I think his contract is exactly like Tobias, and it's just really hard to move without losing a lot.
He's only getting like $20 million a year.
It's
Oh no,
still-
his
it's still
contract is fat.
Not, yeah, it's still like not one of the best contracts. Like I think him, Tobias, and I think Ben Simmons had probably one of the worst contracts in the NBA. But that's my opinion. I don't, but John
And the Sixers gave 2 of those contracts out.
I was gonna. I wouldn't put.
yeah, I know.
I don't think I
Thank
give
goodness for Mike
that.
D'Antoni helping the Elton Brand.
But yeah, I just think John Collins has posted a lot about Trae Young, like behind the scenes a lot, and I just think he's had enough. I think they both need a new start. I think John Collins should be. I don't know why he's still there, but that's my personal opinion. But another 2 moves I wanted to shout out was Josh Hart to the Knicks. I think that's a huge pickup and steal for the Knicks.
I think it is too.
I think that's perfect for Thibodeau's system. And I think Danny Green going to the Houston Rockets because the Rockets need a veteran. Because I don't know, something's going on with Memphis and Houston, but please let's get some vets over in these teams because these young players. But it's hard to watch.
It's funny because let's get some vets in Memphis. Danny Green's coming from Memphis.
I know, but I think it's because he was recovering for his ACL, so he wasn't around much.
He's still going to be recovering for his ACL.
Yeah, but at least like your younger players, like the Rockets have further to go. Than
And they had
Grizzlies.
Eric Gordon, so they already had veterans.
I feel like Eric Gordon is not.
I feel like Eric Gordon was so checked out.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like Eric Gordon's not going to say much.
The Grizzlies were just picking between Danny Green and Luke Kennard. It was like, which one would you rather have? And Luke Kennard's
which
playing
makes
and
sense.
healthy and probably a better shooter. So I think they just kind of made that choice. I think one trade that people, after like the KD trade happened, people kind of like just stopped talking about was the Kyrie Irving to the Mavericks. Like after KD, I feel like everyone just stopped talking about Kyrie getting moved to the Mavs. But I think that trade has
I'm not
potential.
sold just yet.
It has so much potential. And this is the thing with Kyrie Irving, whenever he goes anywhere, there's so much potential for what could happen. I think if he's playing and Luka is playing, then that is one of like the top 3 teams in the West, I would say.
With that being said,
But I don't trust him to play. I don't trust I would bet on Kyrie finding a way to mess it up, which is like kind of sad to say because I want to see it work.
I think this is going to be Kyrie's best year.
I think Kyrie's on a mission right now.
I think so
But
too.
the thing that worries me, it's not that he won't play. It's that Luka needs a ball in his hands.
And they can't figure it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. That's what I think is going to happen.
But
They're
like,
gonna have a
when we
tough
talked
time.
about this last week, that's one of the reasons I was super excited to see Kyrie go to Mavericks because I think like there is an interesting perspective of them linking together and just having like a LeBron and Kyrie kind of switch off.
It being, I would hate this trade if it wasn't a contract year for Kyrie. I think because the fact that it is a contract year means that like there's incentive for him to he has something to play for himself. Like instead of just like relying on him wanting to play for the team, he has personal reasons to play and personal motives. So I think that he will play out the season because I think he's talking about the contract a lot, and I think the contract is important to him.
Do you think there's any chance he resigns with the Mavs?
Yes.
I think there is a chance.
If him and Luka, like if he finds that beautiful basketball harmony with the Dallas,
that's hard to do though.
I know, but everything's hard to do with Kyrie. But I'm sure they'll.
I think he's
figure it out,
incredibly unpredictable. I would. If he was like stay with the Mavs, I would see that happening.
Brady,
but
this happened to your franchise. Kyrie Irving coming to your team. He said he's going to resign. So what are your thoughts as a Celtics fan?
As a Celtics fan, I have a lot of not so great opinions of Kyrie, mainly because he did quit in the playoffs against the Bucks. You can't tell me otherwise. He did. We won game 1 and then he sabotaged 4 straight games. It's just what happened. I think
he just knew y'all weren't going to win. That's why
we won game 1. Yeah. We won game 1, and then he like went out and shot 20% for the rest of the series. But because I think the contract year is big. I really think the contract year is big because of how much Kyrie has talked about this contract and how important it's been, and that's the reason he left the Nets because they wouldn't give him the contract. So I think he has personal motivation to play. So I think it'll work for the Mavs this year. And to go like with Kyrie Kyrie's played next to LeBron and KD. Like, I think Kyrie,
I'm not worried about
he knows how to
Kyrie.
play next to great guys.
I'm not worried about Kyrie learning how to play. I'm worried about Luka how to play.
Okay. That makes sense, and I understand that point. But
I'm not worried about that.
I think there's going to be an adjustment period for sure.
That first game of Kyrie playing, he looked beautiful. Luka wasn't playing, but
that's the thing.
He's getting reps with like the other guys. He's getting reps with other guys, and
That's why
then
they're still sitting him out.
they'll men.
Because he could be playing tonight, but they're going to rest him just because they're trying to build something.
Like I said, I'm not worried about Kyrie matching with the team. I think Kyrie's already done that. Well, not already done that, but I think he can do that. I don't want to say quite easily, but he's done it before many times.
Kyrie is going to play tonight, just so you know, against the Kings.
Oh, no, I meant Luka. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Luka.
But it's like, think about it. Kyrie's played with multiple stars. I don't have a problem with Kyrie playing with Luka Doncic. I have a problem with Luka Doncic playing with Kyrie. Because Luka Doncic, you look at his entire career, he's always had the ball in his hand. It's always, he makes a move, he does a little thing, and then he makes a crazy pass, kick out. So that's what I'm saying. Him playing with another star, I don't know how that's going to work, because that means he has to move off ball and stuff like that.
I feel like this happens for every NBA career, though. At some point, every NBA career, when you're starting to contend, you have to learn how to change your way to play, because usually there's someone else that comes along, or it's a teammate that you guys are really starting to figure things out. But I always feel like, just like we saw with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they figured it out. And I think with two talented superstars like Kyrie and Luka, they'll figure it out. And plus, you have Jason Kidd, who's like really like just like, I mean, he's Kyrie Irving's favorite player all time because he's growing up a Nets fan, and I just think if anyone can explain like the point guard position, like help them figure out where to go, it's Jason Kidd. But also, I'm not as high sold on the Mavs just purely because you're starting Dwight Powell in the playoffs.
They made it to the Western Conference
I
Finals.
think Dwight Powell is.
He's
I
good.
think you're underrating him.
I'm not saying like I don't know. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's terrible. I just don't know how far you can go with Dwight Powell as your starter.
You know how great the Mavs would be if they had DeAndre Ayton?
Not so great.
They would be amazing because they had a top 5 center in the league.
I don't think so, because I think Dwight Powell's actually ability to stretch the floor a little bit is what makes him so good.
Ayton can low-key stretch the floor. It's not crazy, but I think...
Plus, I still don't think Ayton, going back to this conversation, I just don't think he knows what his role is. I really don't. I don't think...
I mean, I think like my like biggest pet peeve is when a center doesn't know his job.
Yeah.
And like, I think in most NBA offenses, your center should not be creating their shot. It's just not an efficient shot. Like most of the time, the center, you should be like moving the ball a lot to find. Because if your center is getting the ball, it should be, I think, in like a lob or like a layup dunk. Because it's like right there.
Unless they're just a pure post threat like Joel or something.
Unless, of course. Let me like put that in there. Unless you're like a superstar center, I want my center to be moving the ball and then just trying to find the open shot. I don't want a mid-tier center taking like contested shots.
Speaking of centers, just real quick before we start to wrap things up though, what do y'all think about the Pistons receiving James Wiseman? So apparently it's a 4-team trade, right?
So far it might not happen.
Exactly. Like so with this trade as of right now, it's the Pistons receive James Wiseman, Hawks receive Sadiq Bey from the Pistons, and the Warriors receive Kevin Knox and 5 second-round picks, but the Warriors also get Gary Payton, right, from that deal.
Yeah,
they were using assets, I think, from that trade into the Gary Payton trade. So that's why the Gary Payton trade is connected to this trade.
Okay, yeah. So the Warriors would get Gary Payton from the Trailblazers. He would get Kevin Knox and 5 second-round picks. So they kind of flip Kevin Knox and those second-round picks. But that being said, that might not happen. Like we were talking about this last week, we all kind of expected Wiseman to get traded because we just felt like he didn't meet the Warriors' timeline. And now that we're seeing that Gary Payton has been playing through like a torn core or something, like, and the Blazers knew about it, but they didn't tell the Warriors on the phone that they knew about this, and like he's been playing. So that deal might not happen. But do you like the deal for both teams?
I don't have any strong feelings.
It's honestly, I don't really see anything.
For the most part, though, I think it will be I think it will be good for Wiseman in the long run. But we'll talk about that more next time.
All right, we do have to wrap it up for tonight. This has been 90.7, the student section. I hope everyone has a great night.
WVUA-FM, Tuscaloosa.